Hey everybody, and welcome to the Evan Knits Things YouTube channel. I'm Evan, and I knit things. If you're here for the first time, welcome. I'm so glad you stopped by. If you're a regular, welcome back. I'm also so glad you're here. Today, I have for you podcast episode 20! That's right, 20 podcast episodes. It's amazing. Today I have for you 3 finished objects. That's right, 3 finished objects. Crazy. And some WIP progress on a couple different things. And some new cast-ons. And 2 acquisitions. And I won't forget book chat today. I wrote it down, so I won't forget today. And we have so many books to talk about because it's been a while. So, let's jump right in with finished objects. Excuse me while I drink my protein coffee. I forgot that I made peaches and cream, and that just really surprised me. I was expecting like caramel or mocha because that's what I usually make. Peaches and cream. Wasn't ready for that. I hope that wasn't terrible sound-wise. Okay, so the first finished object I'm wearing, I told you it was finished last week, but I told you I'd tell you more about it this week because it was still blocking, so you couldn't see it or anything. Where is that page in my journal? Okay. Wow, I wrote nothing down on this journal page. Okay. This is the Kuutar top by Starry Nordland. It is knit in fingering weight yarn. I used 2 different colors. One is by Knitsomniac Designs and one is by the Fawn and the Fox. Neither of those dyers dye yarn anymore, so unless you find them in a D-stash, sorry, you're out of luck. And I did 2-row stripes for this, so you can't really tell. They blend together really, really well. It just looks like a fun variegated or heavily speckled yarn, which I love. I knit the size 4 in this pattern, which corresponds, I believe, to a 40-inch bust, which is exactly what I have. There is some waist shaping, though, for a flowy body of the tank top after the lace panels. I really enjoyed knitting this. I don't usually like knitting lace, but this isn't bad. You cast on right here with a provisional cast on, not the I-cord, a provisional cast on. You work the lace panel and then you put that on hold and do the same thing for the back. Provisional cast on, then the lace panel. Then you join in the round under the lace panel, and then you increase every so often in the body to give it like a flowier. It's like, yeah, it's clingy because it's wool, but I have plenty of space down here, whereas up here is nice and like on the body. And then you go back and do an I-cord bind off for the stitches that you had on hold, and connect those with the straps to the back. And you were working the I-cord for around the sleeve area the whole time you were working the lace. So I would definitely recommend this pattern. I would totally knit it again in another color. I might knit it again in black because it'll just go with everything. Let's see. The pattern gauge called for is 24 stitches and 30 rows, equals 4 inches. Mine was 24 stitches and 31 rows, so pretty dang close. I wasn't really concerned if the row gauge was off by much. because I can always easily adjust the I could have knit a few extra rows after the lace before joining in the round, and then it's just stockinette for forever. And then it also has a fun rolled hem. I don't know if you can see that without me flashing you. I do have a bra on, but you don't need to see any of that. But there's a rolled hem at the bottom, so it just looks really nice and finished, and it feels fantastic. And I did wear this out today. Furniture shopping for a new chair, and it's like 88 degrees. So, and I didn't die. I didn't die wearing a wool nylon blend tank top in 88 degree weather and like 400% humidity. I didn't die. I mean, was I sweaty? A little bit, but it's all good. So, moral of the story, I like this tank top quite a bit. It's completely comfortable against the skin. The lace gives you a bit of breathability, and I like it a lot. So, Kuutar top, finished. Our next finished object. Oh, this was also on my Make 9, so I can cross that off now too. So let me actually look at my Make 9 page in my journal here and see how that's going now, since we're talking about it. So I had finished the Keeper, the Cottagecore Crop, the Padstow, the Kuutar. I finished the Acadia last week and I haven't printed the picture yet. So now I can print a picture for here and print a picture for here. And then I've just got 1, 2, 3, 4 left. 2 of which are cast on. 1 just needs sleeves. And we're making good progress here. We're making good progress. Anyway, next finished object. Alright, my next finished object is the California Sweater Test Knit for Leslie of Knit California. Look at it, it's glorious. It's obviously way too hot to wear today, even though I wanted to. I pulled it off the blocking mats this morning and trimmed all the ends, and I immediately wanted to put it on, but it's too hot. So like I said, this is a test knit for Leslie of Knit California. It is due on September 14th, and I believe the pattern will be coming out that weekend. So, I will tell you more about it then, and it's going to be fantastic. The only mods I made on this are the length of the sleeves, and I think I took out a couple rows of the body, but I don't remember. I need to count so I can write that down. I made the size large. I am using fingering weight yarn held with a Surrey alpaca lace weight yarn. The fingering weight yarn is from Knit Picks. It is their Hawthorne yarn. And I yet again forgot to write down the colors I was using. Why do I do this every time? Okay. One of them is called Sylvania, and the other one, Arletta. The other one's Arletta. Okay. So, Sylvania and Arletta, they actually go together really well. So, I wouldn't necessarily say that this looks like there's 2-row stripes throughout the whole thing. I would say it just looks like a subtle variegation. But if you think it's different, let me know. Let me know what you think. Can you see that there's 2-row stripes? I mean, I don't care if you can see that they are. I love how it looks. I think it looks really cool. And then Breathing Surrey. The lace weight I'm using is from Red Door Fiber Studio, and the colorway is Gift of Gab. So this is going to be just the coziest drop shoulder for as soon as it starts to get chilly. I think we're going to the fair tomorrow, and it's only supposed to be 60 something degrees. And I want to wear this so bad, but I think that's still too warm to be walking around the fair wearing a sweater. It'll probably be a flannel day, but I'm so excited to be able to wear this as soon as it gets even remotely chilly. Or maybe I'll just turn up my air conditioning higher so I can wear it. I think that's the plan. But it's fabulous, and I will remind you guys when the pattern comes out because you are totally going to want to knit this. I used like 2.5 skeins of fingering weight yarn and like 2.5 skeins of lace weight yarn, and both of those are like lower on the yardage side than normal. Like the Knit Picks Hawthorne only has 300 and I think it's like 380 something yards per 100 grams. Whereas a lot of fingering weight yarn you're going to find out there is going to have 400, 430, 460 yards per 100 grams. So it is less, and I did use 2 different colors. So, and then the Surrey, I know there's like kind of 2 Surrey bases the indie dyers tend to use. One either has 450 yards or the other has like 350. This is the one with less, the 350-ish. I actually think it might be like 328. It's not a super ton of yardage. But this is a very open gauge sweater. Like the gauge called for is 15 stitches and 22 rows. And I was at 15 stitches and 22 rows after blocking. So you really don't use that much yarn. And for me, that was on 6mm needles. The pattern calls for 6.5mm needles, but I got gauge on 6. Leslie's a really tight knitter, and this is kind of like the Lento, but a drop shoulder version, and I've knit 2 Lentos, and I used 6mm, so I swatched with 6mm instead of 6.5. So, that is the California sweater. It's amazing. The third finished object I have is one that I just started this morning. Rachel from Rachel is Knitting is also running a test knit, her very first one for her very first design, and it's a headband and cowl set called the Dewdrops Headband and Cowl, and I cast on the headband this morning. I haven't blocked it yet, but I think it's too big. I didn't swatch because this is just such a small project. I figured I'd spend just as much time knitting a swatch as I would the actual headband. So I figured I'd just cast on and block it, and then if it was too big, then I'd knit another one. So the headband comes in 3 sizes. I think a 17 to 18 inch, a 19 to 19.5 inch, and then it's either 20 or 21 inch for the largest one. And it can be knit in DK weight yarn or worsted weight yarn. I am knitting the worsted weight in the medium size. So it is like cute. And it does fit me. I just don't know if it's the size it's supposed to be for the pattern. So I'm going to block it and we'll see. I have about a 22 inch head. And I also need to ask if that measurement is supposed to be stretched or unstretched. So, it could be good. It may not be good. I don't know. This yarn is left over from a project I knit last year, the Throw Back by Andrea Mowry. And this yarn is a worsted weight by Purl Scout Yarns, and she doesn't dye anymore. And this colorway was Winterfell, something like that. I I don't think that was right, but it was something about Game of Thrones and frozenness. Anyway, it's 100% merino. But this is super cute. The cowl is the same pattern, it's just bigger. And this used very little yarn. Like, this ball had 56 grams in it to start, and I used maybe half of that for the headband. So we'll see. I may knit another one, I may not, and then I need to knit the cowl as well. So stay tuned for more on that. But that's finished as well, though it does still need blocked. So that's all the finished objects that I have to tell you about. I mean, that was also a new cast on, but it's finished. So next, let's talk whips. Let me look at my whip list here. At the top, we've got Giant Pink Blanket. I didn't work on that this week. Polygon Blanket. You're not going to believe it. I worked on my Polygon Blanket. Let me find the page. Alright. This is the Polygon Blanket by... Is that it? Yes. By Tin Can Knits. I'm using DK weight yarn on size 6 needles, which is a 4mm. To make this the size I want, I need around 128 full hexagons and 30 halves. So far, I have, let me just check here. Here's 4, and I knit 1 this week, so I have 5. Yeah, this is my face. But I did knit a hexagon this week. I am proud of myself. I pulled out some yarn from my DK weight scraps. And these are the ones that I pulled out that I want to work on soon. I don't know if this is enough for a whole hexagon or if this will have to be a half. I need to weigh these and see what they weigh to see how much yarn I actually need for a hex. But it's slow going. So, that's my Polygon Blanket. I did work on it some. Yes. Next, whip. Let's see, Skyline Sweater, I didn't pick that up this week. Musselburgh Purse Project. I brought it. And I'll tell you why I brought it. First of all, the Musselburgh is by Isolde Teague. I am knitting this up in Knit Picks Stroll in the colorway Midnight Heather. It's a 75% merino, 25% nylon. And this is no longer my purse project because I am on the final decreases. So, I would love to finish this week since we are in the home stretch. I took this in the car to my parents yesterday and it's almost done now. So that's that. Next whip, Padstow Cardigan. The Padstow Cardigan is a test knit by Victoria Marchant Knits, and you guys have heard quite a bit about it previously. I already knit a whole one. I am knitting a second one in the correct size for me. Last week, this just needed sleeves. I knit one whole sleeve and started the second one. I am knitting this up in 2 yarns from Red Door Fiber Studio, a fingering weight held with a lace weight. The fingering weight is her alpaca sock base, and it was an OOAK, that means one of a kind, in the colorway Lavender Latte, and I'm holding that with her Surrey lace base in the colorway Misty Step. So this is due, I mean, not due for me. I don't need to finish this by any amount of time because I already did the part that I signed up for. This is due September 23rd, and the pattern is due to launch on October 18th. So I will remind you guys of that and tell you all about it then. So that's the Padstow. Just need to finish the sleeve. I am making a decent number of modifications this time around, since I already did the test knit bit and submitted my feedback form and all the good stuff. Next project is my book club cardigan, which I didn't work on at all this week. So that's all the whips. Let's talk new cast ons. So I did cast on 3 new things this week. 4 if you count the headband. So there were a lot of new cast ons this week. Did I go a little overboard? Perhaps, but you know what? I don't care. So last week I showed you guys the yarn for the Teddy Half Zip by Kristen Zemmel, which is a test knit that she is running right now that I had signed up for but didn't know if I had been selected yet. Well, I was, and I'm so excited. So let me show you how that's going. This is a super cute half zip pullover. I have finished the folded collar. So it goes like this. It's going to be so cozy. So cozy. I am using 2 different yarns from Hobie. One is the Go Handmade Curly, which is a 59% polyester, 12% nylon, 29% acrylic, 120 meters per 50 grams. This is a vegan garment, so no animal content, because Kristen is vegan. And given that this is like a kind of specialty base, I just wanted to go with what she knit her sample in, and I wasn't like trying to figure out like if the indie dyer DK boucle bases are going to be similar enough to this, because this is supposed to be a sport weight, and I wasn't trying to figure that out. And I didn't want to swatch 100 things. And this is the Hobie Amigo, which is 100% acrylic, and it's 191 yards in 50 grams. And this is a DK weight, supposedly. This color is gray, and this color is 15. I think it was called Dark Blue Melange. But these two together make this gorgeousness. And it's so soft and squishy. Guys, I can't even. But anyway, for this pattern, I'm making the size large, and it is due November 3rd. So you will be seeing a lot more about that in the coming weeks. But I've got plenty of time on that one. Next cast on was the August socks for the Summerly Knits year-long Colorwork Cuff Club. Summerly is my favorite sock designer. She makes the best sock patterns. I'm actually wearing one right now. These are the little boxes socks. I love her socks. They fit so well, and her color work is always so fun. And I hadn't knit a sock in a really long time, and I felt like knitting a sock. So I cast on the August Cuff Club. However, I didn't swatch, and I followed the pattern recommended needle size as opposed to the needle size I usually would use for socks. Like I used the one I would usually use for the ribbing because that's what it was called for in the pattern, but then she called for going up a needle size for the color work, which I never do, but I did this time, and it's too big. So I need to rip back. I'll probably leave the ribbing just so it's nice and stretchy around my ankle and easy to put on, but I do need to redo the color work so it fits right. But isn't that cute? So these are the August ones. She came out with 2 for the August ones, actually. This is one of them. I probably won't do both right now, but this is one. The main color is Explorer Knits and Fibers Denali Sock. In the colorway, I want to say it's To the Stars Who Listen, but I don't think that's right. It's one of the Akatar colors. But yeah, and then the contrast color is a mini that I don't have any remembrance of where it's from. So that's that. I need to redo the color work, but it's super fun. I do really enjoy knitting socks, but there was like 2 years ago I knit at least 1 pair of socks every month for the entire year, and a lot of months I knit 2, and then for the easy peasy scrappy sock knit along I knit like 5 pairs. So I had so many pairs of knit socks that I just like stopped knitting socks for a while. But the other day I realized I really like wearing shorties with my Vans, like shorty knit socks, but I only have 3 pairs. So I decided I needed to knit some more shorty socks. So I cast these on. I like them a lot. Final new cast on, which is only kind of a new cast on. This is a sample for Fiona Kay Knits. I cast on the swatch. So this is for the Sizzle Pop Shawl by I can't remember. I'll put it on the screen. And like I said, this is a sample for Fiona, and this is her yarn. This is the Stampede sock base, and this purple color is Crystal Ball, and this black one is Sparkle Goth. Like, this color, I hope it's showing up well on screen, because it is the most vibrant electric purple. Like, you wouldn't think that like a semi-dark purple would show up with black, but it does, and it's incredible. So this will be a shawl for her, and I have just started the swatch, and this is due for her October 4th, so this will be my main priority right now. So that is all of my whip and new cast-ons and finished objects. That's all the knitting for this past week. Let's talk goals. Goals for this past week. I had wanted to finish the body of my Padstow. I did that. I did that last week. Am I looking at the wrong thing? I don't know. Alright, we're going to skip goals for last week because I don't even remember now. I think, if I'm remembering what I wrote in the caption for last week's podcast, I think I said I wanted to no, I did want to finish the body of my Padstow because I was on the ribbing. So I wanted to finish that. Obviously I did, and I knit a whole sleeve and a quarter of another sleeve, and I wanted to finish my California sweater, and I did that as well. And I think those are the only things that I wrote down. I think I said I wanted to work on the sample, but I just got the yarn yesterday, so I just cast on that swatch this morning. Today for me, by the way, is Sunday, September 1st. So, if that means anything to you, awesome. I had a really busy weekend starting on Friday, so I'm hoping going forward that I will be able to film on Fridays, and then video should either come out Saturday or Sunday, depending on when I get time to edit. Yeah. So, goals for this coming week are finish my Sizzle Pop swatch, finish my Padstow sleeve, do 4 repeats of the pattern on the Sizzle Pop actual shawl, block my Padstow, finish my Musselburgh hat, block my Musselburgh hat. If I have time, redo the cuff on my Colorwork socks, and do the short rows on my Teddy half zip. Now that's a lot of things. I am guaranteeing I will not finish all of them. I just wanted to write down a bunch of things in case I had time. So, that's all the goals for this week. We won't do what am I wearing because I already told you all about it. Let's talk acquisitions. So, one of these acquisitions is actually from last week, and I forgot it. And I can't believe I forgot it. This is from Katie at Claws Out Yarn Co., who I absolutely love. I love her. I love her yarn. And this is the colorway Love Me Anyway from her Chapel Roan collection. And this is on the DK base, which is 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon. It's 100 grams and 246 yards. Like, look at this. And the red speckle, ugh, I love it. It's so squashy. I have 5 or 6 other skeins, single skeins of DK weight yarn that are a variety of purple. So I think I'd like to put them into a sweater together in like kind of a fade type deal. But we'll see. So if you don't know Claws Out Yarn Co. and Katie, go check it out because she's amazing and her yarn is amazing. So that's the first acquisition. Also, you guys told me that you didn't get to see the picture of my yarn shelf last week, that it didn't show up. So, here's a new picture. Hopefully it shows up. I don't know why it didn't show up since every other photo showed up fine, but hopefully it works this week. So sorry you didn't get to see it last week. Thank you so much for letting me know. Okay, and the second acquisition is this Starry from an Etsy shop called Inspire a Mind. They're in California, and they're a yarn shop, in California, and this is their house yarn. Like, they sell other yarns as well, but this is the one that they make themselves, or dye themselves rather. And this is their Surrey lace base. It's a Surrey and silk base standard. I think it's 75-25 or 76-24. And these are 25 gram balls, and I believe this color was sky blue. And I ordered these to cast on an Elton, either pullover or cardigan, by Joji Locatelli at some point. I was going to do it for the Elton knit along with Lava Girl Knits, Courtney, but I just haven't had time. So maybe I'll get to do it for Joji's yearly fall knit along. I usually participate in that. So maybe I'll get to cast it on for that. I have 2 skeins of a really heavily speckled, variegated blue that I got to go with this. They're 2 different skeins, but striped. I think it'll look really cool. So I would love to cast that on sometime in the near future. I can't get it out of my brain, but I don't currently have time. So that's all the acquisitions. I have some stuff coming later this week, but it's not here yet. So that's it for now. Now we can talk books. So, since it's been like 3 weeks since we've talked books now, I finished 10 books since the last podcast where we talked books. So I'll just give you a quick rundown of those. How many stars I gave it, name, title, if it's part of a series, and then if I really liked it, if I hated it, anything you should know about it. And then I'll talk about things that I'm currently reading, and then things I want to start reading soon. So these are in order of when I finished them. So the first thing back 3 weeks ago that I finished was Darkness of Dragons, which is book 10 in the Wings of Fire series by 2E.T. Sutherland. I'm reading these with my son, and that one was 4 stars. That one was good. They're not all great. They are children's books, but it's a really interesting concept, and I like the series a lot as a whole. I'm reading another one of them right now, but that's the last one I finished. So that one was 4 stars. That was book 10. There are 17. I have read 11 of them, which I'll talk about when I talk about the next one. But anyway, so that was the first one. Second book was The Word is Murder by Anthony Horowitz. It was fine. Nothing spectacular. 4 stars, because it was really well written. At this point, I don't remember if I guessed the murderer or not. It was a classic murder mystery. The main character was just really unlikable, however. Like, I gave it 4 stars at the time, but now thinking back on it, I think it's more like 3.5. But I may just be being persnickety. You never know. Next is Stitches and Witches, which is book 2 of the Vampire Knitting Club series by Nancy Morin. These are like super duper short, little tiny mysteries with knitting and a yarn shop involved. Super cozy, super chill, like very low stakes. There's 14 of them, so there's not like a ton of getting to know people in each individual book, but reading them all, then you get more and more each book. That was book 2, Stitches and Witches. 3 stars. Didn't love book 2. I liked book 1, I gave that one 4 stars. Book 2 was meh, but it was enough for me to keep going. Then I read Crochet and Cauldrons, which was book 3, and it was better. Book 4. Or 4 stars for book 3, Crochet and Cauldrons. Liked that one. Then the next one I finished was The House of Diamond by Ursula Vernon, who also goes by T. Kingfisher. This was the first book she ever wrote when she was a teenager. I've been reading it for probably 6 months, very, very slowly. It's what I read when I can't sleep in the middle of the night. 5 stars. Loved it. It was slow going at the beginning, but then it was real good. I liked it a lot. There's a second book in the series that I will get to at some point. I believe it's just called House of Diamond Part 2 or something like that. Next was The True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren. 5 stars. Loved it. No notes. Next was Blood and Fury by J.R. Ward, which, if you're familiar with the Black Dagger Brotherhood series, it's like 9 bajillion books long about vampires and romance, spiciness. If you like spicy romance books with vampires, these are 100% for you. This is the Black Dagger Brotherhood Legacy series. So this is only book 3 of that, but like if you want to follow the timeline, it's in between like books 16 and 17 of the regular series. 4 stars. Very good. Next one. Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. This is book 2 of the Stormlight Archive. 5 stars. 10 stars. 300 stars. Loved every second of this book. It was so good. I'm glad I didn't give up on Way of Kings, which was so boring for 40 hours, because Words of Radiance, immaculate, perfection, obsessed. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. Next, my husband and I's car book is Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo, which is the second book in the Grishaverse. This is a reread for me. It's his first time reading it. It's what we listen to in the car on long drives when the kids are in the car. Because we're reading Throne of Glass together when the children aren't around. And, yeah, we can't read that in front of the children. But Siege and Storm is usually fine. So we just finished that. Super good. And then the last book that I finished in this time period, which I actually just finished yesterday, was A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. This is her newest book. And I'm not going to lie, I really didn't like it. I was so upset. I only gave it 3 stars, and I only gave it 3 stars because I love Ashley Poston. I wanted to give it 2, but I couldn't do that to her. I have loved, like 5-star loved every other book of hers that I've ever read, and I think there's only 2 left that I haven't read. I really didn't like this one. It felt super meh the whole way through. I felt like these characters feel fake. I have no connection to them. Like, the spice was not good. It was super boring. It just felt like there was no actual love story. I was so disappointed. I kept waiting for it to get better and thinking there was like a lot of book left, and then it was like the last hour of the book, and I was like, what? Ugh. Sad. Okay, so that's all the books I've finished. Books I'm currently reading. I already mentioned my husband and I are reading the tandem read of Tower of Dawn and Empire of Storms, which are books 5 and 6 of Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. We're about 3/4 of the way done with one of them and half of the way done with the other. So we've got some time left on there. We started Ruin and Rising in the car on the way home from my parents last night after we finished Siege and Storm, but we're only like an hour into it. And that's book 3 of the Grishaverse by Lee Bardugo. And then I myself am reading Dragon Slayer by 2ET Sutherland, which is part of the Wings of Fire series, but it's like a little spin-off called Wings of Fire Legends. And so, like, they fit in the timeline in different places. But this one is best read between book 10 and 11. So, I'm doing that. There was another one in the Legends series, Darkstalker, which was meant to be read between books 5 and 6. So, I have read 11 Wings of Fire books, and this one that I'm reading now is 12, but I'm only on book 11 of the actual series. It's a little confusing, but yeah. So, I'm reading that. I don't usually leave a kid's book as like the only thing I'm reading at a time, because I don't always feel like that. So, I have 4 choices for another book to read with this one. First one is A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed. The second one is The Summer Skies by Jenny Colgan. The third one is Stockings and Spells by Nancy Warren. And the fourth one, Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. So, I don't know which one of those to read. Let me know what you think in the comments. I probably won't listen to it, because I probably won't wait that long to start a book. I will probably start a new book while I'm editing this video. So, let me know what you think anyway. And that's all I have for today. So, thanks so much for stopping by. Like, comment, subscribe. I am on a journey to 500 subscribers, so we can get this channel monetized. I realize that's a long way off, and that's okay. That's why it's a journey. But definitely subscribe if you're watching this and you aren't subscribed. I would really appreciate it. It helps me out a lot. Monetizing this channel would be really helpful, because a lot of hours of work go into these videos, and I currently don't make anything from them. And I do have to, like, put off other work to do this. And it would be really nice to, like, get a proper camera, because this setup is a little janky. If you could see it from this side, you'd laugh. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. I hope you'll come back for the next one. Since I'm not sure what day that will be, click that little notification bell to be notified when the next video goes live. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Bye!